Hi, creative friends. This is Soraya, and thank you so much for being here. So I'm just going to talk about something a little bit different before I dive into the second part of this background over here. I was asked a question about how to draw or paint a face, but taking into account values, tonality, and giving the face a sense of three-dimensionality. So I did talk about this in a previous video when I did my still lifes, because basically all objects that you may want to paint or draw, whether they are figures, a face, hands, a landscape, basically anything comes down to basic shapes. And if you know that, and if you go into it and you break everything down into just the most basic shapes, you'll see that, oh, well, this is an oval. This is a sphere over here, the face. This is, this is another oval, the torso, etc., etc. And these are like little models that I bought, and I've had them for so long, and they're really good to do quick exercises, to warm up, and to, especially with a figure, to look at things like balance, because balance is super, super important. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I might make another video about it, but when you know about, like, say, the middle axis over here, the line that goes down throughout the body, like, see, if I go like this, but I'm setting it up like this and I'm looking at it head on, you will see that no matter what I do to the figure, it still has to have that axis. Like, it still has to make sense balance-wise. And this is something that we pick up on as humans. Like, if I look at a figure and the balance is completely off, I may not be able to consciously say, oh my God, that's really weird. Like, the balance is off in that figure, but I'll be able to pick up on it subconsciously, because we're humans. So we recognize another human. And when the balance is off, like, you might feel like, if you're looking at a painting or a drawing and the balance is off, you might feel like you're falling. Like, you might be like, you just might feel unsettled. It's a really interesting thing. I had an art teacher who kind of showed us how that is so absolutely true. So if you look at a painting or a drawing of a figure that is not balanced properly, you're just gonna get this like weird kind of a feeling, and you want to look away from it because it makes us feel unsafe. So you will pick up on it even subconsciously. So it's really important to figure out the line, the middle line, the axis, and then to figure out how to not only paint or draw the figure, but also balance. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that right here. But what I was talking about is that if you want to paint anything, whether that is a person, a face, a hand, a tree, whatever, it all comes down to simple shapes. And once you see that, once you know that, you can break everything down into, oh, that's a sphere. That's the torso is another sphere. And then, this over here, this is a rectangle. So everything comes down to basic shapes. And I'm just going to put these off to the side here. And this is a really great book, you guys, but you don't have to purchase a book, honestly. You can go online now, and there's so many different videos and just little bits of information that you can get. But this is a really good book. It talks about structure, form, perspective, light and shade, composition, values, still life, figures, hands and feet, and it goes into like what I'm talking about here. So, like, how everything, it just gets broken down into basic shapes. So I will leave the name of this book in the video in the description. It's a really good book. I've had it forever, and it's very helpful. And it's like, it explains things in great detail. And see, so you can break everything down into basic shapes. See, this is like a shape. This is a shape. This is a shape. And, it's just a really good book. So anyways, I've got a lot of glitter on my desk, you guys, because my daughter was doing a project last night, and there's like glitter galore, but glitter never hurt anybody. So, that's why I have all this glitter, and I actually got some on my background, which I actually really love. Oh, but getting back to what I was saying about the shapes, and drawing things with tonality and value, one of the best things you can do is to actually draw from real life. So do you know when you go to a craft store, like even Walmart, and there's a craft section, they have these like styrofoam white balls, like, you know, for crafts. You can just buy one for like 50 cents or something. And I think that's a really good thing to just purchase, and then set up a still life. So you want the light to come from either the right or the left. You don't want it to come head on, because that's going to wash all the shadows away, and you want the shadows. And the reason why you want a white ball is because you're not distracted by color. Like, I like doing apples, but a white ball is really good for beginners, because you're not like getting distracted by all the colors. You're just looking at your values. And just get a white ball, put it in front of you, put the light coming up from, like, from up, not from, I made a video on still lifes, you guys, on how to set up the lighting, but um like, basically you want the light to be coming from the up, like, how can I say this? Like, the light is going to be shining down on your object, and you want it to come from the extreme right or the extreme left, because this gives you the most shadows. And that's what you want, is you want the shadows. And then once you draw and draw and draw and draw under, you know, you move it around, you can add things, you can take things away, you can move the light a little bit. Once you get to know how to paint or draw a sphere, a white sphere, you take all of that knowledge and you apply it to a face or anything else you want to draw, because basically all things come down to shapes. Anyways, I'm just going to dive into this, but if anybody is interested in knowing more about that, I can do more videos on that. And I'm not an expert on this, you guys. I'm a beginner. I'm still learning. There's so much to learn. But anyways, while I work on this, I'm just going to talk about something that I don't know if I covered this in the last video, you guys, honestly. I don't think I did, but anyways, it's worth mentioning, and it's also worth repeating if I did cover it. So please excuse me if I did. So I'm just going to add some of this luscious luminous opera over here. But basically what I wanted to say is that a long time ago, when I first started making backgrounds, I was really reticent to make backgrounds with no purpose. So what I mean by that is I've got 10 million backgrounds, you guys. Like, honestly, it's kind of an addiction. Sometimes it is kind of concerning to me. I'm like, oh my God, why do I have all these backgrounds? It's kind of like, I feel like I'm a hoarder in backgrounds, if you will. Like in my regular life, I try to have, like, you know, I try to get rid of stuff. I don't like keeping crap. But then in my studio, I have like so much like stuff. Like, I'm like, why do I have 10 million backgrounds? I don't know. But anyways, to make a long story short, when I first started making backgrounds, I did kind of like feel guilty almost, like, oh my God, like, you know, why am I making these backgrounds? It's such a waste of my energy, a waste of resources, because, you know, paints are really expensive. Art materials are super expensive, you know, and it's a waste of my energy, and especially when my daughter was younger, because, you know, I mean, I didn't have like an unlimited, I had to really ration my time, make the most use of my time. And I felt kind of like it's like I was wasting it. Like, I almost felt guilty, right? But what I realized, as I just obsessively, you know, just kept on making more and more backgrounds, what I found is that it's absolutely, absolutely, absolutely not a waste of time at all. Besides the fact that it was teaching me so much about my visual language, it was strengthening my visual language. It also did other things. It like I mentioned yesterday, like, it's like a meditation, and it gives you a way of, now this gets into creativity, into, you know, how do we, you know, the ebb and flow of creativity. Because what I find for me, and I'm just going to speak from my personal experience and perspective, so if I just keep on doing and doing and doing and doing and doing, right? Like, I'm just like, well, I'm doing this art journal and I'm doing this project and I have to do this and I have to do that. And, you know, and I'm just doing, okay, all the time. I am going to get really seriously depleted and burnt out. Like, I am just gonna, as much as I love it, as much as I may love what I'm doing, it's not that I don't like it. It's not that I, you know, I mean, I love it, right? Like, I love, say, creating an art journal about XYZ, you know, I'm going to get really depleted if I'm just doing and doing and doing. And this is a creative way. Like, of course, there's other ways, like I like, say, photography. I like writing. I like gardening. I like walking. I like traveling. Do you see what I'm saying? There's lots of other ways, right? That we fill up our cup that have nothing to do with painting per se. But this, me just making backgrounds, is a way for me to fill up my creative cup, okay, without the pressure and the stress of the doing. And so it's a way for me to keep my creative fires burning, because if I'm just doing and doing and doing, I am going to, like, I'm emptying out my cup and I'm not filling it back up again. So what I found is that actually making backgrounds is such an amazing way for me personally, to keep my creative fires going and to, you know, fill up my cup. And there's a cross pollination of ideas that happens because, like, I'm like, oh, I really love that. I love the way that, this mixes up with the dictionary pages. I love this over here. I love these lines. I love this. I love this. I love this. And so now when I go back to work in another journal, like my, my Divine Feminine art journal or my Healing Ancestral Trauma art journal, whatever, when I go back to that, I am absolutely 100% going to carry some of these ideas into there, whether consciously or subconsciously, and I am going to use them. They could stay the same, they could morph, they could be a little seed that grows something completely different. But my point is, it is absolutely going to, it's that compost, using the garden analogy. It's just that compost. You're putting so much stuff into the compost bin and it's breaking everything down, and now it's giving you this rich, fertile soil. Or it's called black gold in gardening. But that's what it is. It is this, this just amazing black gold that now you take it and now you plant, your sunflowers. Now you use it to plant your tomatoes and you use it to plant this and that and whatever. But it's that black gold, that compost that you are using to fuel all these ideas. I look at this as exactly the same thing. So I look at making backgrounds as, this is my compost. And now I'm going to take all of this black gold and I'm going to use it to fuel my Healing Ancestral Trauma art journal. I'm going to use it to fuel this and fuel that and fuel whatever. And then in turn, whatever I work on in those journals, I bring it back into here. So it's kind of like you're just constantly, it's kind of like the gardening analogy again. You're using the black gold, you're planting sunflowers. But then, you go and trim the sunflower stems or whatever, you're pruning, you're doing whatever, and you take that stuff and you put it back in the compost. It's exactly the same thing, you guys. And then that compost breaks everything down again and it gives you more black gold. So it's the exact same thing. It is not a waste of anything, you guys. It is not a waste of your time. It's not a waste of your energy. It's not a waste of your art supplies, your resources. It is not a waste. It is a way for you to create this black gold that now you can use to fuel your creativity. So I cannot stress that enough. It's something that I learned along the way. And you know what? I will use these backgrounds for something at some point. I mean, I can paint over it. I can make an art journal out of it. There's a million and one ways that I can work with it. I can, and because it's mixed media, you can put like a million layers on top of this. So it's not like it's a waste at all. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that, you guys, because, I think it is really important. It's something I experienced, and I wish that I would have dived in head first instead of second guessing myself so much, and saying, oh, like, it's such a waste. I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, la, 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 la. Because I did. I probably did that for, I don't know, 6 months, a year, whatever it was, until I just gave in. And I'm so glad I did. But over these past, 20 plus years, I have realized how valuable making backgrounds is. And it's one of the best ways I know that I can just keep on fueling that creative fire. And I did make another video about the ebbs and flows of creativity, because, you know, like just like the ocean, you know, the ocean has ebbs and flows, and it creates like the waves, you know, the ebb and the flow. And we would think that something was really weird if it didn't have those both aspects. Well, I look at the creative process as the same thing. You're gonna have ebbs, you're gonna have flows, but this is something I can do to just constantly like feed it. And it's kind of like a meditation, and it puts me in a state of flow. So that in itself is priceless. Anyways, you guys, I'm just gonna bring this up closer because I'm really loving so much of what is going on here. Like, look at that, you guys. Oof, like, look at that juiciness. I love it. Anyways, also to you guys, somebody asked me about Piper in my last video, and so they wanted me to make a video about Piper, and I will be making a video about Piper and posting it in my shorts, and maybe talk a little bit about fostering, if anybody out there is interested in the fostering process, because we are fostering her. We've been fostering her for over a year now. I know. You know, I didn't anticipate it was gonna go on for that long, but maybe I'll talk about the fostering process a little bit if anybody was interested in fostering, because dog shelters everywhere are over capacity. And I'll make a little video about Piper. She's a cutie pie. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.